Let's talk about the new Wicked movie. Everybody's seeing it. Everybody's talking about it. I don't care about the movie. I don't want to see it. But let's talk about this epic press run real quick, because this has to be the most viral, most emotional press run for any movie ever freaking made. If you haven't seen this, okay, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo have been crying, sobbing, holding space, whatever that means, in literally every single interview that they have done about this Wicked movie, okay? Like, it's really insane because they look like they're high in every interview. Like, it's so great to meet you. It's so great to see. Ariana Grande has kind of apologized for all the crying. Cynthia Erivo, not so much, but they're just like, we're literally crying in the parking lot on the way to the interview. We're crying during the interview. And I just don't get it, okay? Because I understand this is a big deal. This is a big movie. People are very excited about it. And hey, I'm very happy that the people going to see this movie are enjoying it. I'm very happy that it is very successful. Good for you. But is it that emotional? And it's the way the interviewers are behaving is insane as well, because they're interviewing these ladies like they just got out of like they just got out of being held hostage by ISIS, or if they just came back from doing a mission to Mars. Excuse me, hello Ariana, yes. What kind of emotions did it bring up inside you when you were playing the part of Glenda? And then cue the waterworks and everything. And I'm just like, what is? I understand maybe crying one time, but why does it need to be this deep? This is one of the like cringiest things to me, is when actors do these interviews. Acting is not that hard. And I know, listen, I'm not saying I'm a good actor. I'm not saying I will make a good actor. All I'm saying is that you literally get paid to show up and say the lines. And I think that the actors that behave this way, they want to kind of like justify their place in the world and justify their place in society. So they muster up all these emotions and they make it seem like their job is harder and it's just more important. It's just all ego. Basically what I'm saying is all this crying and all this carrying on is all freaking ego, dude. It's totally insane and totally unnecessary. The other thing that's totally insane and totally unnecessary is apparently the people that are singing during this movie, because it is a musical. I'm not a fan of musicals, but people are apparently going into the theater and singing along with the musical, and that is not okay. But apparently it is okay to Cynthia Erivo, okay? When she's not crying, she's actually saying something in the interviews, and one of the interviewers asked her, like, hey, what do you think about people singing in the theater? And she was like, oh, I think it's great. Listen, we've been singing it long enough. It's time for you to take over. No, that's not how it works, because yes, you've been singing it for 2 years on the set, but everybody that went to the theater once, they haven't heard it yet. They would like to hear you, and not this bitch sitting next to me who is in the fucking Glee Club. Okay, not this theater kid sitting next to me that's trying to hit the high notes. Her fucking voice is cracking. That's not what I came to the theater to see. And I like what Ariana Grande said, something to the effect of, if somebody throws their phone at you or popcorn at you, I think it's time to stop. And yes, it is time to stop. Don't even start, okay? Because these people are trying to have you get your ass beat in the theaters like that kid at the end of Five Nights at Freddy's. I feel so bad. I don't know what that kid did. I don't know what happened during the movie, but when it was done, my man was getting lit up, okay? The press, the whole fiasco around Wicked has been totally insane. You heard about the action figures that came out, where they put the action figures out, and somehow, I don't know how this happened, but on the back of the action figures, instead of putting the actual website for the Wicked movie, they put wicked.com, which is a freaking porn site. Okay, like
Now you know you're retarded.
and I don't even know if it's somebody being retarded. It's probably I think it was sabotage. Well, that's what I've heard. Because how could somebody make such a dumb move? How could you make such? How could there be such an oversight, especially when all of these packages are probably going through multiple hands to make sure that everything is okay? Okay. Then you had the Yeti cups that women were beating each other over the head to get the wicked Yeti cups. Not the Yeti, my bad, the Stanley.
Right here. Take it out. Oh, got him. Wow, that's all they got.
Oh, got him. Did you see the people? Did somebody grab something out of your hand? Did somebody grab something out of your hand? Because they tried to grab something out of my child's hand.
Yeah.
That's all I'm holding.
I was running.
Running.
And she's like, this is all they have? And I said, no, they're right here. And then she tries to take mine. And I said, no.
We have been here since 6:30 this morning, and that woman's like, don't touch the. I was like, I
Sorry
don't
you
know
just
who
pulled up
are.
at 8.
Right, right, right.
Women were beating each other over the head to get the Stanley cups at Target for Wicked. I didn't even know Stanley was still a thing, okay? But good for you guys. You got the freaking cups. It's all good for the movie because it brings press to the movie. And I'm very, very glad that this movie's being made and that people are enjoying it. But some of y'all are enjoying it a little bit too much, okay? Now, even The Rock, Dwayne, weighed in on this a little bit because he made Moana 2, and he was saying, hey, I'll let sing away in the theater. Go ahead and sing. You paid your money to be here. Yeah, everybody paid their money to be here, and they paid their money to hear the movie, Dwayne. Nobody wants to hear the person next to them sing. I don't get it. And this is the thing. This is what I'm saying. These actors are out of touch, absolutely out of touch. They're not living in the real world. A lot of these people, they just don't have issues going on, like day-to-day issues. So they have to create issues, which is why you get these cringy interviews where people are like, oh, please indulge us and tell us about the process of getting ready for the role. Yes, when I was I truly think that I didn't have to prepare for the role. The role was preparing for me the whole time. Truly, I feel like it was all meant to be when I got the script. It's like, can we just get a regular fucking interview? Okay? And even though I just kind of threw shade at The Rock real quick, because that was a crazy comment, Dwayne, I do like The Rock, okay? Because The Rock is one of the actors that I would be if I was an actor, I would hope. Okay, my man he doesn't do all this deep introspection in the interviews. You ask him a question, he's like, that's a really good question. I think that my inner child was really at play. And no, The Rock comes in and they're like, hey, bro, how's it going? What's going on with the movie? He goes, Rock just comes in. He says the same couple things. And I think that's the criticism The Rock gets is that he's the same guy in every interview, in every movie. In every interview, he's like, hey, I'm fucking jacked. I'm peeing in bottles. I'm acting. I'm having a good time making a big shitload of money. And by the way, I'm jacked. And in every movie, he's just The Rock. He's just a big jack guy. For some reason, for the last 10 years, The Rock has somehow been in every movie that involves a CGI animal. I feel like in one movie he's with a big CGI gorilla. The new movie, the red one he's in, there's a big polar bear. Once I saw the big polar bear in that movie trailer, I knew The Rock was in it. I knew he was in it. My man just does the same thing. And listen, I don't think that there should be any hate thrown onto that, okay? Because who doesn't want to make a shitload of money and phone it in? You acting like you ain't phoning it in right now. You acting like you wouldn't kill for the chance to make $20 billion to just show up and be the same guy and just be yourself. Hey, show up, be strong, and say a couple lines. Cha-ching. $25 million, and he's not going in these interviews divulging all these personal details and giving all these cringy takes. I fuck with The Rock because of that. I really do. I respect somebody that could just produce soulless content over and over and over again. Because personally, me, I think I might blow my brains out if that was me, but I respect the kind of person who could just go in there with like zero artistic merit and just say, fuck it, let's just make something, just whatever, just whatever. Let's just make something totally innocuous, like whatever. Okay, because on the other end of the spectrum, I hate the movies that are super long and everybody takes everything too serious and the movie's boring, but it's not bad because it means something and you got to look. You know what? Just show up as The Rock and talk to a fucking polar bear. There's nothing wrong with that. The guy's making his money. He's peeing in bottles. He's getting big contracts. I like it. He's not there to be the big, to be the method actor. He's doing. I guess he is doing method acting because in every movie he plays The Rock. So that's the method right there. But the red one, that's the Christmas movie where The Rock plays like a bodyguard and they have to go save Santa. Santa was kidnapped and he's with this big polar bear. And let me tell you, when I saw that trailer, when I was in the theater to see Smile 2, I think, boy, did I think that was one of the most horrendous trailers I've seen in a long time. Okay, but I thought, hey, maybe it's gonna do good. It's gonna do well for the kid. The kids are gonna show up. Merry Christmas. That did not do well at all. The red one took like $240 million to make, and they only made about $34 million, $40 million back. And that's the price you pay when you make the soulless content. You make a lot of, you make the good money up front, but after a while, I think the stock drops because you just keep putting out these epic bombs, these things that just have like almost zero value in it. And I'm not saying that the red one is whack because I didn't see it and I won't see it because that I just don't have any desire or any energy to see that. That's how bad the trailer looked. I'm just saying the trailer's whack and the box office may be indicative of its quality as well. I don't know. You go see it. You let me know in the comments what you think of the red one. That does not appeal to me at all. Okay. Did you guys see Sabrina Carpenter is taking over the world? Espresso has been my favorite song for the last 10 months. It's just on all the time, and when it's not on, it's just replaying in my brain over and over and over. And Sabrina Carpenter is actually going to do a Christmas special on December 6th. I think it's called, like, I don't know, an Espresso Xmas or some shit like that. I don't know what it's called. But she's been getting a lot of criticism lately because she has been doing some sexual innuendos and some explicit content on stage where she did something where she like went behind this curtain. She looked like she was having sex with a guy. She did another little dance move where she looked like she was giving fellatio to the microphone. And people are criticizing her, saying that she should not be doing this because kids are present. Okay, because she's somehow responsible for parents allowing their children to listen to Sabrina Carpenter. Let's start here. Let's start right here. Is that Sabrina Carpenter is... They criticized her mostly because she was a Disney star. So that they're basically saying since she was a Disney star, she needs to be clean, she needs to be tidy, and she shouldn't be doing all this sexual stuff, these sexual innuendos on stage. That argument is completely baseless because Sabrina Carpenter at this point is 25 years old. She hasn't been a Disney star since God knows when. It's not like she's on the Disney Channel right now. Her Christmas show is going to be on Netflix. It's not going to be on Disney. The only time I really remember Sabrina Carpenter being on Disney was like 15 years ago or 10 years ago, I think, when she was doing Girl Meets World. And so if you're talking about somebody who's been following Sabrina Carpenter, right? Like let's say somebody found Sabrina Carpenter on Disney and they're a fan of hers that way. Let's say they were 10 years old when Girl Meets World came out. That person is now 20 years old. So they are perfectly of age to hear whatever innuendos and see whatever performances Sabrina Carpenter is putting on the stage, okay? I don't think Sabrina Carpenter, if she does have a child audience, that's up to the parents' discretion because she doesn't make music for children either. She says fuck in some of her songs. She curses in some of her songs. I've heard them. She does not make music for. So the fact that they're claiming since she was a Disney star that she shouldn't be doing all this makes no sense. That's like saying any child actor that was in any children's movie can't grow up and be in a gangster movie, or they can't be in any movie that has explicit content because at one point you were a child star, and God forbid, a kid were to stumble upon that movie, even though you were a child star when you were when like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's absolutely ridiculous. The argument is retarded.
Now you know you're retarded.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, speaking of let's talk about another pop star real quick. I got some very, very bad news for you if you are a fan of the Wednesday show. Everybody loves the Wednesday show, and everybody is clamoring for season 2. What has it been, like 2 years since season 1 came out already? The word on the street is that season 2 may be out for July 2025. I just read an article about that not too long ago. But I also read another article that might spook you out and scare you. And that is that Lady Gaga has apparently joined the cast of Wednesday. Uh-oh. Now, some of you may not know what that means, but that, my friends, is an omen. That is an omen of doom. That is an omen of destruction for your favorite piece of content. Once, the first thing I thought of, obviously, when I heard that, was The Joker. The Joker 2. We all saw that. We're all seeing the effects of that, the abysmal failure that is The Joker 2. Horrible box office. Just absolutely terrible home video sales, digital sales, okay? And a lot of people speculate Lady Gaga had like 99% to do with that. And as somebody who saw that movie, let me tell you what right now, Lady Gaga was nowhere near a redeeming quality of that movie. Her scenes were absolutely atrocious, okay? Then I thought all the way back, years and years ago, young witty, I used to be a big fan of American Horror Story. I watched every freaking season, okay? Murder House, Circus, Coven, Asylum, all the way up until we got to Hotel. American Horror Story Hotel, to me at the time, had one of the worst first episodes of the series because I never watched that season after that episode. I thought that episode was so lame that I turned it off and I said, well, there goes the end of my American Horror Story career, at least for this season. Let's see maybe next season. I have never returned to American Horror Story after Hotel. And do you want to know who was in that first episode? Lady Gaga. Okay? She was a big part of American Horror Story Hotel, and that was the last time that I watched that show. Okay? People were already criticizing her before. And I never had any negative things to say about Lady Gaga even after that. But once I saw The Joker and I heard that she had a lot of pull and she was she was the big reason it was the way it was. Let me tell you right now, I feel bad for all of y'all. The only thing that may save this is if you remember correctly, Wednesday season 1, Jenny Ortega got a lot of heat from the writers because she was putting her foot down and she was like, I'm not saying this. I'm not doing it this way. Apparently the writers were writing such a dumb show and Jenny Ortega saved the show. Apparently, she was like, changing things. She was basically putting her foot down and saying that she wanted it to be a different way, and she stopped them from making a lot of poor creative decisions. So the only hope we have is that the savior, that she can save it again, that Jenna Ortega can take on Lady Gaga in the writing room at the director's chair, because it might come to a head. This is like, King Kong versus Godzilla in the writing room. These two titans of the industry are coming head to head, and we're going to see who wins when Wednesday season 2 comes around. Because if all of a sudden Jenna Ortega starts doing a musical number and then Gomez starts singing, we know who won the battle of Wednesday Addams, okay? Did you see the new commercial for Jaguar? Jaguar has undergone a brand revamp, okay? With a logo that looks like it's from a vape. People have said the new Jaguar logo looks like it's fresh off of a nice hot vape. And the commercial looked like it was like it was an advertisement for an LGBTQ fashion show. It didn't scream, "Hey, I want to get in that car and whip around," like a Ford commercial. You've seen like a Ford truck, right? You got the guy and he's driving the truck in the mountains, and they got like a dog, like a golden retriever in the back, and he's showing that it's a safe vehicle, and people are hanging out on the mountains, and they're showing, and they kind of display the capabilities of the vehicle, and they sell you a lifestyle. I don't know what the fuck they were trying to sell you with this Jaguar commercial, okay? But we got a little insight. We got a little bit of insight with the director of operations, or whatever this guy is. He did like this big meeting for Jaguar, and I saw it on Instagram, and he was doing his speech, and of course, what he was droning on about was all about diversity and inclusion, and how we're gonna make Jaguar an inclusive place to work, and it's gonna be an inclusive brand, and we're gonna make it safe for all and everyone and their mother of every identity. And that is all fine and dandy if that's what you wanna do. I ain't got no problem with that. I ain't got no issue with that. The problem is that in that speech and in that commercial, you hear nothing about the two most important aspects of Jaguar, I'm assuming. Listen, I'm no car aficionado, and I damn sure ain't no business aficionado. But if I can stretch my imagination and bring myself to what the job is of this Jaguar company, is to focus on the car, because that's what you're selling, and the customer, because that's who's driving it. And I heard literally nothing about either one of those in either one of those speeches. Now, the speech that I heard may have been clipped. He may have brought that up in later or earlier aspects of the speech, but that is not what I heard in that speech, and that's damn sure not what I saw in that trailer. That looked like a trailer for like the Met Gala. That didn't look like it was trying to sell me no car. Now, you can make the argument, they might have been trying to sell a lifestyle, and that's fine. Or you don't need to just throw the product in people's faces. And a perfect example of that is somebody like Apple or Nike, the way they used to do their commercials. I don't know how they do their commercials now. They might be on the same type of wavelength with, whatever they got going on, okay? But back in the day, they would do an Apple commercial for like an iPad, and it would be a nice family sitting around, and the dad would be going through the pictures of when the kids were younger and all the nice memories, and then they would show that it was on an iPad, selling you the thought that, hey, this is where you can put your family's memories. It's bringing up the warm feelings about family. Nike, they got the guy in the court, boom, 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 they're selling the sport. What the hell was this commercial selling at all? Absolutely nothing. This is what you call virtue signaling. They're just trying to cater to a specific demographic in hopes that they look good, that they look relevant, and that are they even worried about people spending money on the product truly? I don't think so. I don't think these companies are concerned about finances at all. Harley Davidson got a bunch of heat. And it's like, if you were focused on that, you would be focused on your product and the customers. Scrub Daddy is something I thought of, an invention I thought of when I was watching the Jaguar commercial. I was like, everybody loves Scrub Daddy, right? Everybody loves Scrub Daddy. I've heard great things about it. I've had one, Scrub Daddy ain't doing none of that shit. You don't see a Scrub Daddy commercial where they go, Scrub Daddy, we're wiping away the racism and homophobia in the world. And you see like a guy scrubbing away racism and homophobia off like another guy's like skin. You know what I mean? They're just trying to sell you a sponge to clean your bathroom. They're not catering to this mindset of whatever's going on. I don't get it, dude. I don't get it. But you're going to see plummeting sales. You're going to see boycotts, just as you have seen with everything else that has went this way, where the people at power, they try to virtue signal and they try to, cater to a specific demographic that may not even be their demographic. It's insane. It's insidious. It's in every aspect of entertainment and business, and it has got to go. Speaking of got to go, Hallmark is in a lawsuit right now with one of their casting directors, a very, very successful casting director in their company, a long-time casting director with them, because that casting director is claiming that Hallmark is ageist, and that they have been trying to get rid of or phase out all of their older actors and actresses to make room for a new. And they're saying that they're basically being ageist and ableist, and even saying that they phased her out of the company because she has been with Hallmark forever and that she's too old. And basically, they told her, hey, we need somebody that has connections to young people, because you old and you keep serving us up a bunch of old people, so you got to go. And on one hand, you got to say, hey, they're a TV business, they're in the show business. Obviously, they want younger people. Obviously, they're going to want the new crop, the new stars. They're going to want fresh faces on the screen. That I do not take umbrage with. That I can imagine. They're going to want attractive young people on the screen. But two things. Number one, the way they went about it was not right, because they pushed this woman out, allegedly, and they basically got rid of her because even she's too old. Now, maybe she wasn't doing a job. Maybe she was trying to rail against the ageism of Hallmark. Okay, I don't know. But it didn't sound like they were doing it in the most polite way that they could have been. Number two, it's very fascinating that Hallmark is like focused on young, new talent. Emphasis on the word new, because Hallmark should be a little more focused on coming up with new storylines. And I think we all know this. If you've watched 5 Hallmark movies in your life in the last 10 years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Basically, it's just the same script every movie, just a little bit of tweak. Like the last movie they came out with was 'Tis the Season to Be Irish. Okay, so you're wondering what could that be about? It's an Irish movie, right? It's gotta be something new. It sounds new, sounds fun, but it's pretty much the same shit that Hallmark as the movie before it, where either the man or the woman, they have to relocate their job and go to either their hometown or somewhere new. And then in that area, there's like a business that's in jeopardy, be it a bakery or a candle business. So that person has to go save the business. In the midst of that, they end up falling in love with a woman or a man. So they fall in love with them and they hatch a plan to save the business. Usually it's like a bakery. They usually end up at like some town dance, like, oh, we got to do the big Christmas ball. And that's where they find out they love each other when they hated each other or they didn't like each other 2 seconds previously. So I'm just saying that, I have not turned on Hallmark in a while and went, damn, they got to get a new crew up in here. They're looking a little old, It's looking a little stale. But I have thought that about their storylines because, they'll be like, hey, we're going to do our first gay movie. We're going to do our first Asian movie. We're going to do our first African-American movie. And it's just like they do what Disney does. They just like take an old script and they go, all right, so we're gonna get a black guy in here, but do we want him to be at the bakery or the candle factory? Okay, so is he moving jobs or is the other woman moving jobs? And listen, they do have room for old people because the other like B plot in every Hallmark movie is that the old person is a widow, right? And then the other person, other young person has a widow in their family, and they usually set them up at the end because the old people watching Hallmark, they got to make them feel like you still got a chance. You know what I mean? You can still have at it in your older age. It's not too late for you, grandpa. It's not too late for you, grandma. So it's just very shocking that Hallmark is dedicating their resources to anything new. They should be looking at their scripts. And I say this with all the love of my heart for Hallmark. I love Hallmark very much. Listen, I got to put you on to something on the contrary real quick because I do want to talk about Netflix's brand new Christmas movie called Hot Frosty. I know that sounds like a Christmas sex act, a Christmas sex move, but it's not. Hot Frosty is the new big Netflix Christmas movie. But before I get into that, I want to put you on to something else because I just talked about how Hallmark is all about, they just recycle the same stories, but there's a series on Hallmark because I'm a Hallmark premium member. They might shut my premium down after they hear this, But I'm subscribed to the channel, the Hallmark channel on Amazon, so I get every movie. And I started watching this movie series called The Good Witch, which has about 11 movies and then a show afterwards, right? So I turn on The Good Witch. It's about a witch who moves into this town, and she's not really like a witch. It's not, her powers are not like overt. It's kind of like under the surface. She just like kind of does things. You don't really know what's going on. But what I love about this series is somehow like all of their efforts, all of Hallmark's efforts must be put on the Good Witch series because each one of these movies is very different. All the stories are very creative. There's like actual conflicts happening. It's not the same conflict that happens in every movie where the business is getting shut down. It's like one time one of the kids was getting abused. One time a bank robber came back into town and they didn't know if he was gonna, if he was gonna kill the cop or if he was gonna do this and that. I mean, there are many different storylines in each one of these movies has a banging storyline. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Every one of these movies has like almost 5 stars on Amazon. I don't care about Rotten Tomatoes or any of that shit. I don't listen to that. But the critic reviews on Amazon, every movie is rated almost 5 stars. And I've made it through about 7 or 6 Good Witch movies. And I'm telling you right now, each one of them is an absolute banger. I love the Good Witch series. It started in 2007. And it's still going, I think, till this day. Or I think it stopped in 2021. But every movie has an awesome storyline. There's like actual consequences that could be had. Like, somebody's going to lose their job. Like somebody just lost their wife and now they're going to get back. And then you got the witch who somehow fixes everything at the end in a mysterious way. And she just tells people, hey, I think you should go to the coffee shop. You're not feeling well. And then at the coffee shop, they meet a new woman, or they meet somebody to help them with their business. It's an absolute banger of a series, and anytime I bring it up to somebody, they go, oh yeah, I love The Good Witch. I love it. So if you're into Hallmark stuff like I am, check out The Good Witch, because they must have a whole Good Witch wing, whole Good Witch department, because that's where literally all of the efforts and all of the resources are going, is to The Good Witch. Let's talk about Hot Frosty. I went into this movie a little trepidatious. I didn't know what to think. I just saw that it was one of Netflix's most popular movies right now. It's brand new. It's a rom-com Christmas movie, so you know I gotta see it, right? So the premise of this movie is this woman puts a scarf on this attractive snowman. It doesn't look like a regular snowman, like where it's like a big balls or whatever the fuck. I mean, he probably got, I don't know, he might have big balls, I don't know. But he's not made of balls. He's made of like, he's a chiseled, it's like a Greek god statue in the form of a snowman. She puts this scarf on him. He comes to life. She's all freaked out about it. But obviously, spoiler alert, you know, they're going to fall in love and all this stuff. So, you know, like where it's going to go generally, what the fuck? Generally, when you get into the movie. But I was like, I'll sit through it, right? So I first started, and I'm like, oh, like, I don't know. Like, this is probably going to be so fucking lame. But as the movie continued, I started to like it. It really started to grow on me. I started to laugh. You had one of the best performers in the movie. One of the best actors is the sheriff, who is played by the guy who plays Daryl in The Office. That there were certain points of the movie where I found myself laughing out loud. Actually, I was like, okay, you know what? This is actually not too bad. Okay, the funniest thing I thought though was that the whole premise of this movie is predicated on the main character being disrespectful, being super disrespectful and rude. Because in the beginning of the movie, Kathy, the main character, goes to see her friend, and her friend basically says, hey, you need a man, okay? You need to go meet a guy. And she gives Kathy a scarf, and she says, this is the scarf that I wore when I met my husband. I would love you to have it, right? So Kathy gets the scarf, and she goes out into the town square, sees the snowman, and puts the scarf on him and walks away and says, you can have it. And that's how he comes to life, with the scarf. And I'm thinking, how fucking disrespectful. Like, I don't even like you right now after that. That is not main character quality right there. Your friend, your longtime friend, gave you a gift, and you leave it on a snowman in the middle of town square, where she could most likely see it and be like, hey, ain't that the scarf I gave Kathy? What a bitch. She just like left it on this inanimate object, never get it back. Like, she doesn't like this. Like, that's super disrespectful, super rude. But once you get past that, it's kind of a funny movie. It's kind of cringe at some parts. It's kind of dorky. But what Christmas movie isn't? It actually grew on me a lot more than I thought. And I was laughing at some points. And then at the end, I was happy. My heart was filled with Christmas cheer at the end. So it's going to get the gritty stamp of approval from me. I'm going to say that Hot Frosty, which it took me like 2 days to figure out why they called it that. I was like, what is Hot Frosty? I don't get that. Obviously, Frosty the Snowman, hot, he's attractive. Boom. It literally came to me 2 seconds ago. That made me feel very bad that I couldn't think of that. Like, how freaking dumb. But I'm going to give this movie a 3.8 out of 5. It's not spectacular. It's not my favorite. It's no Good Witch. Nothing of that nature. But it is something you can throw on to kill some time. Something you can throw on and have a little bit of fun and enjoy some Christmas magic. It's actually funny because the main actress in that movie is one of the people in question in the Hallmark lawsuit, I believe. Because the main character in this movie did a bunch of work for Hallmark, and they're like, oh, she's too old. We got to get her out of here. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's great. She doesn't look, first of all, she doesn't look old. And she's a pretty great actress, in my opinion. I really enjoyed her. I thought it was fine. I thought that she was a good quality in the movie. Okay? So check out Hot Frosty. The Christmas season is here. The hot chocolate is... I got to go make some hot chocolate right now, actually. I'm in the mood for some hot chocolate. Okay? Put up the decorations. It's time, baby. It's time to get jolly. It's time to get happy. Do the Christmas shopping. I bought myself something for Christmas. I finally got myself an iPad. If you're a longtime listener of the show, you probably know that I've been dying to get an iPad, and for some reason I haven't. But I broke down, bought myself an iPad, and that's what I've been watching The Good Witch on. Been watching The Good Witch, eating peanut M&Ms, watching Total Divas on my new iPad. I bring it all around the house. I love it. I'm very, very grateful because Santa did not bring me the iPad. I was waiting for Santa to bring it, but he didn't. I was probably naughty, and that's why he didn't bring it for me, so I had to get it for myself. But I hope that you enjoy your Christmas season. We got, obviously we're going to have some more Christmas content coming up for you very, very soon. Peace and love. See you next time.